Hi, my name is Darren Joseph from HCJ.tax, and we're the team that seeks to demystify that sometimes confusing world of international tax. And today we have a bit of a segue. We have the honor and the privilege of speaking with Steve Maggi. Steve, would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. Steve Maggi here. I'm an immigrant from Argentina, and I've been running my own immigration practice based in the US since 2004, so for a little while.
Okay, fantastic.
And following on from the last topic about maintaining the green card, could you talk us through the idea and the process for re-entry permits?
Sure. So re-entry permits are for people who are permanent residents who have to leave the US for at least 1 year, between 1 and 2 years, essentially. And they have to do it for a specific purpose. Because what happens is if you leave the US, you don't advise the government and you spend a prolonged amount of time, including 6 months or more continuously out of the US, you then fall into this potential risk area that we've talked about where you could eventually have your green card revoked. So if you want to protect your green card and you have a legitimate reason, like 2-year master's program is very popular, like somebody going abroad to study. Because if you have another citizenship, the reality is it's probably a lot less expensive to study abroad than in the US. So that's the one we do the most of. But that's where you're being completely transparent with the US government and saying, this is a temporary move. My intention is to return. And you want to submit that 6 months before you need to travel. You can't just send it the day before because you want to have that permit when you're leaving. So they already know that you're leaving for that specific purpose. So you have to do a lot of planning. Like we talk about immigration, tax, pre-planning, pre-immigration. This is one of those things in reverse. You have to notify the government and get that approval. You want to get it before you leave. Then you can go and not worry about it because you know you have a certain amount of time where if you're out, when you come back in, they'll allow you to re-enter and resume your permanent residence. It's very important that people plan that well.
Okay, so is it like a one-shot deal, or can you get it and then maybe a year or two later something else comes up and you need to spend time outside and you can apply for it again? Or is it like that one-time deal?
No, it's not one time, but it's based on circumstances.
Right.
If you say, I'm going because my grandma's sick and I'm going to be her caretaker, and 2 years later you say, my grandma's sick and I'm going to be her caretaker, it's not very credible, right? You have to have a legitimate reason every time. Just like people don't know if they're coming in as temporary visitors to the US. Every time you enter the US, you're doing what's called applying for admission. Just because they let you in the last time doesn't mean you have to not justify it again. And what you're doing is in accordance with what's allowed with that visa category. Right? It's the same thing here. You're applying for a re-entry permit. Every time you apply, you have to justify it fundamentally with proof, documentation, etc. You can't just say, give me an extension. So it's not one shot, but I would say it probably gets progressively more difficult because they're going to wonder, what is this person's real intent?
Okay. Thank you for that.
And if someone wanted to reach you, what's the best way to find you?
Probably just to contact me on LinkedIn or to write me directly, SMAGGI at smalawyers.com. The website is www.smaimmigration.com. They can also send a query through the website.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.